And we're live.
All
Hello.
right. Hey, everybody. We are here with another episode of the Antler Queens, a Yellowjackets podcast. I'm Media Melanie here with.
I am the Antler Queen. Hi. No, I'm Kelly Geist. Hello, everyone.
Now, if you are watching us versus listening, you might notice that we are dressed up in our best Doomcoming costumes. I am wearing a mask along with a very fancy constructed flower woodland crown, and Kelly is wearing a veil with antlers and beads draped upon them, and we both look, dare I say, incredible.
I was going to go with fucking ridiculous, but yeah, incredible works. Yes. I also would like to call attention to my lovely poncho that I wore, which looks very much like an animal pelt. It's completely synthetic fibers. No animals were harmed in the making of this Doomcoming episode.
I love that. And, we really brought our A game today because we are ready to party like it is 1996, covering episode 9, Doomcoming, which is probably my favorite episode of the entire first season of Yellowjackets. What about you, Kelly? Is this in your top 3 at least?
Hell yeah. Sorry. this is getting a little annoying. I'm just going to move.
You know what? I'm going to remove my mask while you're doing that too. Of course,
this is like a crochet, like a short sleeve crochet shrug. I just threw on.
I can't even get my mask off. So
yeah, if you're listening to our podcast, definitely find us on YouTube if you get a chance, because I feel like everybody needs to see our costumes.
Yeah, we'll definitely get a picture up on Instagram too. Yes. So I have like flowers.
Yeah, no, Doomcoming. This was absolutely my favorite episode. It was so good. I mean, so much happened.
Incredibly action packed. One of my favorite graphics that you made was, kind of summarizing Jackie and Travis dancing, and he's saying, is this what a high school dance feels like? And she says, weirdly, that not that far off. But of course, that's before all of the craziness goes down. So, yes, goodness. Well, why don't we dive in? Kelly, let us know who wrote and directed the episode. And then today you want to take the present timeline and I'll do past, or vice versa. Either way is cool with me.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
So this episode was directed by Daisy von Schurler-Mayer. Daisy worked on House of Lies and *Halt and Catch Fire*, among other things. And the episode was written by our favorite showrunners, Bart Nickerson, Ashley Lyle, and Ameni Rosa, who has worked on Scandal and Sandman, among other things. I know you love Scandal.
I love Scandal. That was one of my favorites. It got a little crazy towards the end, but big Olivia Pope fan.
Cool. I've never seen it.
Definitely worth the watch. Nice. And the episode description for today: you are cordially invited to the Doomcoming. On the brink of death, the Yellowjackets opt to throw one last rager before careening into oblivion. An increasingly paranoid Shauna struggles between keeping her cool and being Shauna. I feel like it's an understated description because there are so many things that happen, but it's good because then once all the madness starts, you're like, whoa, buckle in. We are ready for a ride.
I also would like to give this episode an honorary kind of parenthesis subtitle or second title. I want to call it Misty's Big Break. Because, and we'll talk about it later, but she was very, very happy at the end of this episode.
Yes, she was. Her. yes. Maybe the happiest Misty ever. I completely agree with that. Oh my goodness. Whew.
So, all right, well, let's get into the episode. It starts off with Shauna showing up at Adam's place, and she's as we remember from the last episode, she found glitter in the closet and her journal's gone. And she figured, Adam was in the closet. He had to have done this, even though he was in there for like 2 minutes or whatever. Well, I mean, when she was talking to Jeff, I guess,
It could have been like 5 minutes, long enough for glitter to spill on the floor.
Yes.
Probably.
And she starts furiously knocking on his door, and he opens, and she just says, "Who the fuck are you?" Like, she just seems very panicked.
Yes, she does.
He lets her in, and she says she knows about the blackmail, and he thinks she's trying to role play.
I loved that. I thought it was so cute and really on brand for them as a couple, right? Because that's kind of like been a thing. So, I mean, it's not far off for him to suggest it. And for me, that's the moment I'm like, oh my God, it's not him. He is not the blackmailer.
Yeah, exactly. She's not really listening to him, or she just starts searching his apartment like crazy, just opening up doors and drawers, and she starts demanding to know where her journals are, and he's completely confused. He doesn't know what she's talking about. And she continues to search, and she opens up a drawer, and she finds a book called Skin in the Game.
Mm-hmm.
The Yellowjackets story. It's not exactly the thing she wanted to find. But it's, and the Us Weekly magazine too. With the 25th anniversary story. But it's like, he says that he had a great response to that. I thought it was perfectly normal. He said he Googled her, found out about the plane crash, and he wanted to understand that what she had been through, because she had clearly been through a lot. Which I think is completely, if I really cared about somebody, I might tell them that I Googled them and I found out, and I might ask them about it before I like go and read a book that might be really inaccurate.
Right. And then hiding it just doesn't make it right. Like, be honest, people know who she is. Like, say he knows who she is, whatever.
Yeah. Googling. Everybody does the whole Google thing. It's totally normal. He just kind of took it a step further. But
he bought the book.
Yeah. Yeah. And she freaks out and grabs a knife. And he's trying to talk her down off the ledge, and she's like, "You haven't done anything yet. Just like, let's just talk this out." She starts just having flashback after flashback, and then he comes toward her, and as soon as he steps toward her, that puts her over the edge, and she just guts him.
That sequence too of the flashbacks was really intense. It was, younger Shauna transposed with current day Shauna, and some of the stuff from the woods. It was really like she was having like some kind of, like a mental break or delusion or whatever. And and it resulted in him getting stabbed.
Yeah. This is I thought this scene was really, really powerful. And they depicted PTSD really well. As somebody as someone who has dealt with PTSD, I felt like it was really accurate as far as like, the flashbacks go, and having something trigger it, and to show when she was stabbing him, she was young Shauna. She was totally out of her, like, she was back in the woods, basically.
Back in the woods. Yep. It was not, she was not there, not herself.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I thought that was really, really well done. So kudos to them.
Agree. And
such a clear statement.
Absolutely. And, it's addressed throughout the episode as well. We see it, a little further on here with Jeff, talking to Shauna. So I like how they incorporate the trauma into the storyline to give some more depth to the characters. And really quick before we move on to the next scene, there has been a lot of talk on Reddit threads about the Us Weekly magazine. You can see, it says little girls lost. Where are they now? And then I've seen some other screen grabs where, it's a wedding or something, and people were speculating, maybe it's one of the girls who got married, but I think it's totally unrelated. I think whatever the cover story is not related to, the girls. I think the other stuff around it is, but not that stuff. So anyway,
Yeah.
just me debunking that, that theory.
No, I totally agree.
Yes. And then we move into the past timeline. The group is there gathering, cooking, eating grubs, which look disgusting. Again, I would never win like Survivor when you have to like eat bugs, like not my thing. Van's off to the side, eating with her face all bandaged up. But, she seems to be doing pretty well, all things considered. Granted that, her face got eaten by wolves and she's casually sitting enjoying a meal. Again, Van never dies. Crazy.
I mean, just the fact that she's even just sitting up and eating, is like kind of huge.
Right. I mean, not sitting in bed or, whatever. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. So Van's very lucky.
Yes.
Jackie, however, is not eating anything. Mari grabs some berries she was saving and says that they, probably turned into alcohol now. So they decide that since they have booze, they should throw a party. And there was some cute dialogue there. Lottie says, if we have booze, let's have a party. Ty says, yeah, because we've got so much to celebrate. Jackie, do we need a reason? We're going to be dead in a few weeks. Like reality setting in pretty hard with Jackie. Misty notes that there's a full moon tomorrow night. And Akila says, and it's almost homecoming. Lottie, we packed dresses, right? For the awards dinner. Jackie, then there we go. We have dresses, we have booze, we can decorate, have sort of a moon homecoming. Thaisa, more like a doom homecoming. Lottie, a doom coming. Nat, now that is a party idea. And then Jackie says, yeah, all right, Doomcoming tomorrow night. We'll drink rotten berries and celebrate our impending death. So yeah, that is setting the table for what's to come. And really quick, before we move on, I just want to shout out our Doomcoming gear, since we're talking about how Doomcoming came to be. We have some super cute merch. This is my Doomcoming 96 fanny pack. I also have my Doomcoming tank top here.
Nice.
So visit antlerqueenspodcast.com. Get your Doomcoming gear and celebrate like it's 1996 with the Antler Queens.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
One thing I wanted to point out that I thought was interesting during that whole discussion about the party, when Mari first grabs the homemade, her berry moonshine, someone asks, is that even safe to drink? And Ben comments, do we even care? So I mean, they've pretty much all accepted. I mean, Ben has shown that he's very much still like in the mindset of he's the adult, he's got to be responsible for these girls. Like he's still in that, he hasn't totally left that mindset yet. And even he's saying, yeah,
he's kind of like, fuck it. Fuck it is basically what he's saying.
Yeah, we're probably all about to die, so it doesn't matter if the stuff is poisonous.
Yep, absolutely. So they're all on board with this idea. For once, it's like something they can all agree on. They're like, yes, we are gonna fucking party. And yeah, they do.
And then we move to the present. Shauna is back at home after killing Adam. She opens up her safe and her journals are back in the safe.
Ooh.
So, that's a little suspicious. Jeff comes in and he's asking for her opinion on what to wear to the reunion. And she you see like her face just get this like, oh, fucking God, no. And she asks him if he knows where the glitter came from. He's an even worse liar than Shauna. I mean, he's
the worst liar ever, actually.
He was like a cartoon. I mean,
yep. Oh my God.
Cartoonish.
Oh my God. Like the look on his face during most of that scene was just unbelievable. And his hair, like just Warren Cole nails it once again.
Yeah. He's like, huh? Oh, I don't know. But he just, he breaks almost immediatly and, tells her she was never supposed to find out about this, never supposed to get involved. It got out of control. And I love the way he says this line. He's like, he starts telling her about, the store's having trouble. He's like, listen, the store, goddamn furniturefam.com.
Oh my God. Poor Jeff. Like, you can really feel his pain and frustration there. Like, he's working so hard for his family. The poor guy just cannot catch a break.
Yeah. So this FurnitureFam.com place, they make all their own inventory, and they've got virtually no overhead, and they're just running him out of business. And he makes it clear that he never wanted to get Shauna involved or to have her even know about this. But he thought that maybe like Tice or Natalie would, have some settlement money laying around or something that, who knows? So he tells her he took out a loan, and it turns out they were some really bad, scary guys. And, but he tells her he paid them back. It's all good. No one's going to die. Too late.
Yeah. Oops.
And he's like, let's just move past this and forget it all happened. And she says, no, Jeff, we can't. And then we move back into the past after that. And it just leaves it at that. We'll revisit that conversation in a few minutes.
Yes, we will. And what a deep conversation it turns out to be.
Yeah.
And back in the past, we have the group getting ready for Doomcoming. Spirits are high. Everyone's excited. People are making masks and crowns and decorations, very much like our amazing costumes today. Once again, just pointing out how great and ridiculous we look at the same time. Misty gives Ben a handmade boutonniere and asks him to go to the dance with her. And he agrees as long as they, respect their boundaries. So I thought that was really nice of Coach Ben to do that. And then she says, I know I'm not pretty. It seems to be one of her, manipulative tricks or whatever. So, that same back and forth with Coach Ben and Misty. And then Jackie tells Shauna that she is not going to die a virgin and said she's going to try to sleep with Travis. Shauna tries to talk her out of it, but Jackie says he and Nat broke up weeks ago and they're barely talking. And then we hear, do you like him? Because God knows I would never want us competing for the same guy. And that's Jackie to Shauna, just with that snark, obviously, because clearly Shauna was, sleeping with Jeff. So, I kind of like this new Jackie. She's kind of like, fuck it. She's speaking her mind. She has no shits left to give, like nothing,
Yep.
So yeah, we see a little something there between Jackie and Shauna, and then we move back to the present again.
And we catch back up with Jeff and Shauna, and Jeff we didn't get to see his immediate reaction to her telling him that we didn't get to see her tell him that she killed Adam, but he was like, what do you mean you murdered someone? And I love the delivery on this line. She's like, well, I stabbed him and he's dead now. So yeah. And he asks her who, and she said it was the guy that she thought was blackmailing them. And he asked like, who the hell was this guy? And she's like, just a guy. It was the guy I got into the car accident with. And he asks her why she would think that he was the one blackmailing them. And she's like, I don't know. The more I got to know him, I just started. And he's like, whoa, wait. You stayed in touch with the guy you rear-ended? That's weird. Yeah, that would be weird. And she's like, well, I ran into him at the Jolly Hitcher and we had a drink. And he asks her, well, wait, what were you doing at the hotel? And she tells him she was following him. And she said, can we stop? Can we just not pretend that we both know you were having an affair? I saw you there with Bianca. And he was like, what? He's like, Shauna, Bianca scares the shit out of me. She's with the bad loan people. And then it dawns on him, like, you said I was having an affair too, which means, and then he realizes that Shauna was sleeping with this guy. And she's like, I can't, coming up on the line of the season, she's like, I can't believe you thought I was going to book club this whole time.
Oh my God.
Jeff, Warren Cole in the most perfect line delivery. Here's his wife murdered somebody. He just blackmailed her teammates. He followed her to the hotel. She knows about, or she followed him to the hotel. She knows about the loan and all of this crazy shit that's just been thrown on the table. And he just screams out, "What? There's no book club?"
That really is like the line of the season. Everything about it, the look on his face, his delivery, I love it. And, we do have there's no book club merch at antlerqueenspodcast.com as well. So definitely, be sure to check that out. Yep. And, then we move back to the past timeline once again. I loved this scene because it features one of my favorite 90s items throughout the series, the caboodle. I keep my caboodle prominently displayed behind me. Today I have some little shrooms and decorations on there to celebrate Doomcoming. But anyway, we see Jackie doing Misty's makeup. Misty tells her she has a crush on Ben and asks Jackie for advice. Jackie is super sweet to Misty and says, well, my mom always says that when a girl sets her mind to it, there's nothing she can't get from a man. And then, well, my mom's also on 10 different kinds of downers, so I wouldn't necessarily take her advice. You deserve to be with somebody who really wants to be with you. Look, you're beautiful. I just thought that was so nice of Jackie. And you know what? Yeah. I was going to have a different MVP for this episode, but for Jackie showing this kind of kindness and friendship to Misty, who clearly needed it probably more than anybody, she gets my MVP of the episode. And I just also my 90s moment, love seeing that caboodle there. So anyway, I thought that was a really nice scene between Jackie and Misty because you don't often see those two together. So it was a nice moment.
Super sweet. And she was very, I liked how subtle she was. She was very gently kind of trying to steer her away from Ben while being very encouraging, by telling her, look, you deserve to be with somebody who really wants to be with you. And she was really sweet there. Jackie, it's funny because Jackie's that type of person who just, she's got a good heart. She's not malicious.
No.
She's just very self-involved.
And reactive to situations, right? She reacts to situations, but very self-involved.
Yeah, she doesn't notice. She doesn't really stop to think about other people's perspectives or try to empathize with them. She can't see past her own narrow worldview in her own universe. But she does. But yeah, I don't think she has any malice in her whatsoever. I think she's got a really good heart.
She does. It just doesn't always, show that way. But yes, exactly. Good heart.
But so then we we catch back up with Shauna and Jeff, and Shauna comes into the room and she's drinking straight from a bottle of liquor, and she's like, "Yeah, we were out of Xanax."
Yeah, they've got some sorrows to drown at the moment. That is for sure.
Yes. And Jeff, man, talk about stepping it up.
Oh my God, I couldn't believe this.
I know. He comes in and he gives her the information for the guy who handles the financials for the stores. You can sell off whatever inventory you need. And he's like, we've got a lot of stuff we need to sort through, but I am not going to let you go down for some stupid shit that I did. And he was going to turn himself into the cops and take the blame
for murder for Shauna, husband of the freaking year. I mean, You can think what you want about Jeff. Now we know, he was not having an affair. He's always had Shauna's back, and he puts it all out there with this. Oh my God, taking the rap for murder is pretty ultimate.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we thought he was having an affair in the very beginning, but it was really tough to validate that. I kind of I never really thought for very long that he was actually having an affair, just because he's shown so much loyalty to Shauna. And I mean, he's just, he's had her back so much. And so I was really glad that, this scene proved it completely. But she said it's super sweet that he wants to take the fall for her, but if she goes down for Adam's murder, or if he goes down for Adam's murder, then the cops are probably going to find out what else he's been up to. And if it gets out that the Yellowjackets are being blackmailed because of what we did out there, our lives and Callie's life would be over. And she's like, you didn't tell anybody about this, right? He told Randy Walsh.
Of all people.
So let's just hope that Randy doesn't have a big mouth. But he, he's like, he's my best friend. I had to tell somebody. And she's like, why wouldn't you just tell me the store's in trouble? And he's like, are we going to do this? Really? You've got a whole safe full of secrets in there that you haven't told me about for years. And I really like this exchange. She says, when do we become these people who lie and cheat and do awful things and just stay together? Because why? And he says, Shauna, we've always been these people. Secrets have always been a part of us, which is true. I mean, they started off their relationship like he was cheating on Jackie with her.
Literally the basis and foundation of their relationship is one big secret they were keeping as teenagers. And I mean, that's how it all started.
Yeah. And, he asks her, he then, kind of comes through with a decent idea. And he said, you thought this dead guy was blackmailing you, right? So why can't the other girls believe that too? So, brilliant. Just
so brilliant. Like maybe one of the best ideas he's actually ever had. I'm surprised Shauna didn't think of it. And, again, this like really speaks to Jeff just being such a great husband, supporter, partner. And, he knows what Shauna went through. He read the journals and he stuck by her side all this time, has not wavered. And good for Jeff for coming up with a solution to, kind of a big problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And then we move to the past again.
Yeah. I really liked the song that they used in this montage.
Same. Oh my God. Favorite song of the entire episode. 100%.
I'm like, it's one of those songs. I never really cared for the song itself. But I appreciate the nostalgia of it. And I thought it was like, because it's such a feeling of kind of like hopelessness. So I thought it was a perfect song for this montage.
Absolutely. Spot on. Way to go. Choosing Collective Soul.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So why don't you walk us through there's lots of stuff going on here. We kind of see what they're all doing. Why don't you walk us through what they're each doing?
Yes. Okay. So we have Misty pulling out a hidden binder from near a tree, and it contains a bunch of shrooms that she's been saving. She has a nice little sketch to go along with it. Jackie's doing her hair. Lottie is going through Laura Lee's suitcase and pulls out a dress and, pulls it out, and it has Laura Lee's name on the tag, which is like pretty sad. And also, when did we continue writing names on our clothing when we were in high school? I don't know. I think I stopped doing that at that point. But but anyway, they had to do that to identify that it was Laura Lee's and make that connection. And then Van is sitting by a tree with scarves wrapped around her head. And Ty shows her that she made masks for them because she knows that Van's been feeling self-conscious. And when Ty gave her that mask, I loved that moment. It was such a kind-hearted, loving. Yes, I didn't cry, but I was like feeling all the feels with that. Oh my goodness.
That scene got me. I admit I totally cried.
Oh my God, 100%, 100%. And then Shauna is struggling to zip her dress because she's noticeably pregnant now. Her belly's starting to show and she, can't get that zipper up. So she calls for help. Mari asks Misty to help Shauna, and she leaves a bunch of shrooms and a towel on the counter. And this is a really key moment. The shrooms come into play big time later. She comes back and grabs them, and Mari has already found them, already put them in the stew that she's making. And, Misty said she was saving them for a special occasion. So here we are, Doomcoming, special occasion. She just failed to mention, that they were the type of shrooms that might make you hallucinate. We have Natalie putting on makeup, and then I also love this moment. Travis is showing Javi how to tie his tie, and I was like, oh my God, the brotherly love. It's like, a complete 180 from the Travis Javi interactions we saw towards the beginning of the season when Travis was like upset at Javi for holding on to the gum his dad gave him and all that. So I just love that. It was like a chance for Travis to kind of step up as a role model for his younger brother.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that.
Yeah, definitely. So this was interesting. Back in the present timeline, we're at Misty's house, and Jessica is out of the bed. So Misty's got her handcuffed to a wheelchair, so she can at least move a few feet. She's
Oh my
drinking
gosh.
from a can of orange slice. Like, how long has that stuff not been in existence? I mean, would it even like taste like anything but flat water at this point?
I don't know. Like, she must have some kind of apocalypse, like doomsday bunker or something, because yeah, Slice hasn't been around for a while.
Yeah, that's. I mean, they're all. I don't. Yeah,
I think I'm gonna
it's
Google
not
it.
like a. I mean, it's not like a Canadian thing now, is it? Like, is it still available in Canada? Maybe,
Ooh, good
and that's why it
question.
made its way. I mean, they're not. They're in New Jersey in this timeline, but like, yeah, I don't know. It was really strange.
Let's see. It was manufactured by Pepsi and introduced in 1984, but discontinued by Pepsi. So yeah, it doesn't say when it was discontinued. But anyway, it was
Yeah.
discontinued. So yes.
Yes. And Jessica's kind of just entertaining her with some of her crazy stories. And and she's like, you must have a lot of crazy stories yourself. I mean, being trapped in the wilderness for 19 months with a bunch of girls. And Misty said it wasn't so bad. We were all friends. And yeah.
Slight exaggeration.
Yes. and Jessica, I think Jessica's kind of trying to appeal to something in Misty here. And she says, Misty, they've been in touch with each other for the last 25 years. Did they ever reach out to you, ask you how you're doing? I mean, hey, I wasn't there. I don't know. But if it were me, I'd feel left out. That's you can see the wheels kind of turning in Misty's head a little bit. She's taking that into consideration. It kind of stings a little bit. And then and Natalie gets a text. Natalie's back in her hotel room, and at the motel. She's actually outside. She gets a text from Susie, her old sponsor, who's working on getting Travis's account information. She texts her and tells her that she's still working on Travis's account. And Natalie is just completely wound up still. And she kind of just takes out all of her frustration on the vending machine and breaks it with a fire extinguisher.
Oh my God. And you know what I loved about that is she reaches in and only takes the peanut M&Ms that she paid for. Like, she doesn't take like the Funyuns or, like multiple snacks. She just takes the one, not being selfish at all. Just trying to get what she paid for, right?
At least take all of the M&Ms.
Right. Like, exactly. I mean, you went through all the trouble of breaking it open. Like, get some candy.
Yeah, exactly. And then Thaisa is in a car with her campaign manager, and they're sitting outside one of the polling places. And she's very distraught. She says, she took a 15-year marriage and set it on fire for what? Zoning reform. And she's just like, her heart's not even in the election anymore because her marriage is kind of like falling apart at this point.
Tanking, totally tanking. And it's really sad to watch.
Yeah, it really, really is. Which, it kind of surprises me that it's that bad, because Simone was so understanding and sympathetic, and it kind of just went all downhill when Thaisa said, I need you to get out of the house because I'm afraid that I'm going to hurt you. I mean, if that's a valid concern, I mean,
she should be thanking Thaisa and happy that she is looking out for them in such a manner,
Yeah. So I'm kind of really surprised that things are this strange between them, to be honest. But I mean, their marriage is going through something regardless, and Simone might have just reached her breaking point. And I'm not going to judge her for that.
Nope. Hey, we all have our breaking point, and we got to respect it. She's been through a lot as Thaisa's wife, and we'll see where it takes us. Yeah. But first, the show is taking us back to the past. We're in 1996, at the brink of Doomcoming. Lottie is taking the role of MC, and she calls for Doomcoming to begin. Javi bangs a gong. which is actually a piece of the plane. Great
How
usage.
did they get that over there, by the way? Aren't they like 4 to 5 miles from the crash site?
Yeah, maybe some suspension of disbelief situation going on here, but hey, good use of the shrapnel from the plane wreck or whatever. So
Yes.
so that's cool. Most people are walking into the space in pairs. We see Jackie and Shauna, Akilah and Mari, Ben and Misty, Javi and Travis. Then we see Natalie alone, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
I love this moment. Van and
Yes.
Ty walk in nervously holding hands, and everyone smiles at them. And Mari says to Akilah, "Are they?" And Akilah, "Duh! Like, how do people not know that they're a thing now?
Yeah.
Thaisa grabs Van's face and kisses her, and everybody applauds. And I love that. I
too.
love that they're coming out as a couple. And it's just a really happy moment. When they have these little moments where they can actually find something to celebrate in such a tragic, shitty situation, embrace it. And this was just one of those moments.
Yes.
Everybody's drinking. We have Mari's berry moonshine. People are eating Misty's mushroom stew. Everybody's in really good spirits. Shauna actually brings Jackie some stew and asks her to eat it for her. She smiles and takes it, and then she dumps it out while Shauna's not looking. Jackie's obviously on a hunger strike here.
Mhm.
Travis tells Natalie she looks nice, but then Jackie immediately calls him over, and he comes, and it's just kind of like, come on, Jackie.
Yeah.
It's kind of a sad little moment there, I think, for Nat.
Yeah.
Ben is about to cheers Tynessa, and Lottie stops them and calls for a moment of silence to honor Laura Lee, which I thought was really, really nice and appropriate. And, they just lost her. So similar to me losing my crown and constantly adjusting it during this episode. So apologies.
I loved I really liked Ben kind of cheersing them, because like, it's when they walked in, you could see how nervous they were. They were kind of looking at the ground when they walked in holding hands. And they were really nervous about how this, what people's reactions would be, because it's, I was around that age back then, and I had gay friends, and my whole crowd, everyone was super, like, it was no big deal, like if you were gay, people weren't shocked. It was like, but there still was, that still wasn't the norm. Like, people had a really like valid concern about coming out, because it still wasn't.
Oh my
as
God.
accepted.
Yes, absolutely.
So they were kind of nervous, and everybody was so accepting, and that was clearly a big moment for Ben too, because he had disclosed to Natalie that he's gay, and so he was like, it made him happy to see Van and Ty like come out as partners. And
He was really admiring them. It was like, you could tell it was a very endearing moment, and he did have some admiration for their courage of coming out, because not everybody back then was supportive.
Yeah.
My locker buddy from junior high through high school was gay and didn't come out, but everybody knew. And the things he had to endure in high school were just so terrible. And he's one of the best people I know. I love him. He's now a pediatric nurse. And, it's, for him, I think he had some PTSD over that. And so anyway, really, really great moment. I absolutely love that. And the celebration continues. Misty says they need a slow dance. And then Lottie starts singing Kiss from a Rose by Seal. And I just love it. Everyone starts singing and dancing, and like all the songs, I like, why Kiss from a Rose? I don't know. Like, it was definitely a popular 90s song, but
my God, people freak out over that song. I hate that song.
Yeah, I was never a big fan either, but it seems that everybody on the Yellowjackets team was. Everybody knows all the lyrics, and they all join in and they start dancing. Misty asks Ben to dance, and he tells her that his dancing days are over, but she should ask Javi. Jackie makes Travis dance with her, and Jackie says, "Isn't this like every guy's dream, being stranded with a bunch of babes?" And he's like, you ever feel like your humility holds you back?
That was hilarious.
And she's like, what? I said babes, like not just referring to herself.
Yeah.
And then Natalie asks Ben if he wants to get out of there because she has some real booze. And, they've established that they have this little connection and friendship from the last episode when they had that heart to heart with, Ben coming out to Nat. And so they get out of there. And then Jackie asks Travis to go for a walk with her.
Yeah. Then we cut out after that and go to the present. And this was so great. Jeff confirms to Shauna that he read her journals years ago, and he never mentioned it because he was hoping that she would want to. I mean, it was a lot, he doesn't want to force her to talk about something that traumatic if she doesn't want to. And he was hoping for years that she would approach him and talk to him about it. But, it's all on the table now. And she you can tell she's on the verge of tears. And she says, all this time you knew everything. And even now, after what just happened, and he says, of course I still love you.
Oh, what a moment. And the self-control that Jeff has exercised for literally decades, not bringing this up to her. I would never have that type of self-control. I could not help myself. I would have to bring it up. And, it just, again, speaks to the type of partner Jeff is and how dedicated he is to Shauna and his family. And I think that's just incredible.
Yeah. I hate to brag here for a minute, but he actually reminds me so much of my husband.
Oh my God, he would take the murder rap for you, Kelly. You picked a winner. Amazing.
Okay, I don't know if he'd go that far. that might be the one, the one non-negotiable. But
right. Murder. I mean, murder is pretty serious.
But I think I could murder somebody, and he would be like, yeah, I still love you. It's cool.
It's true love right there. And so then we move back to the past again. We have Nat and Ben sitting off by themselves in the woods. Natalie hands Ben the booze that she found under the porch, and she doesn't drink any herself and even says, this is going to sound weird, but I really haven't wanted it. And, it is strange given that in the present timeline, she's actually in rehab. So, alcoholism, probably something she struggles with, maybe off and on. But anyway, in this time and place, she's not drinking. And you know what? Good for her for having that moment of clarity. The moment of clarity does not last long, however. Suddenly, Ben starts feeling weird and says he thinks Misty poisoned them again. And Nat, being the intuitive party person that she is, starts feeling it and says, I think she poisoned all of us, with this look on her face. She knows it's shrooms, so she's not scared. And she starts to wave her hand around and see some trails and, let the hallucinations begin.
I thought that the whole thing about her not wanting to drink was so interesting because she's clearly, she's drinking in the present timeline.
Yep.
And she talked about in rehab that she, for so long, she thought that behavior was all the drinking and drugs was because of one reason, but she realized that it was because she lost her purpose. So, it kind of makes you think, okay, well, she feels like she actually has a purpose here. And that's why she's not even tempted to have a drink with Ben. So I thought that was really interesting.
It is interesting and really good for her, not taking that temptation. Meanwhile, everybody else is tripping balls, drinking the moonshine. Van says, guys, doesn't Ty look like a tree right now? And Akila, oh, she kind of does. And Mari, or do the trees look like Thaisa? And then all of a sudden, Shauna feels her baby move. And then Lottie says something's coming and that they won't be hungry much longer. And so this is when shit really starts to get weird. Everybody is clearly starting to feel the mushrooms. Thaisa's feeling Shauna's belly and the baby, and God, cannot be good for the baby having, the mom being on mushrooms. I imagine that's probably not a good, toxin for the baby. So,
yeah, no kidding.
Meanwhile, Jackie is leading Travis back to the cabin and up to the attic and kisses him. And Travis stops for a second in this really sweet moment and says he thinks he's in love with Natalie. And, you know, you could just like see the love in his eyes. And he's like, why am I here with her? You know? And then Jackie's gone completely nihilistic. Like, we're seeing a completely new Jackie here. She has 0 fucks left to give. She says, you're so sweet. You're so sweet and naive and dumb. Yeah, Travis, dumb. It's fine. I used to be dumb too. I used to actually think it mattered who your first was. I used to think a lot of shit mattered. I barely slept the night before we left because I cared that much about a fucking soccer game. Shauna was fucking Jeff. My best friend was having sex with my boyfriend behind my back. It's funny. I used to pretend I didn't know if I loved Jeff, when the truth is, I didn't even like him that much. And I was so mad at Shauna, but now realize she's right. Friendship doesn't matter. Love doesn't matter. They're just things that we used to pretend we aren't going to end up like dead cabin guy, like rotted out husks in some bullshit attic. But of course, that's how it ends. That's all we are the whole time. It doesn't matter. We're just shells with nothing inside. I'm not asking again. The choice is yours. And then all of a sudden, Travis kisses her. So it's hard to say if her speech is that impactful or if the mushrooms are kicking in. We know Jackie did not drink the mushrooms. So she is, you know, in her right mind. This is all coming from like, you know, sober Jackie. So it's interesting, like, you know, if it's the mushrooms or if Travis is like, you know what, fuck it, you're right. Like, none of this matters. So anyway, Jackie and Travis start kissing.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's dark outside at this point. Misty is calling for Ben when she realizes he's not there. And they realize that Jackie and Travis are missing. So Lottie says they should go find them because, and this is like a super creepy line delivery, he doesn't belong to her. And like, it sounds like the devil itself speaking through her. Like, oh my gosh. And then they leave Javi behind. He's kind of like laying there in the dirt.
Javi.
Poor Javi. Like, also, like, what a young age to be tripping on mushrooms. Like,
I know.
I mean, like, oh my God. Like, I can't even fathom that, you know, his poor little young brain, you know, oh my God, the poor kid. And they just leave him alone there. Like,
yeah, he's like this little, you know, 12, 13-year-old kid tripping on mushrooms all alone.
Oh my God. Like, someone should have supervised him, but I guess they're all out of their minds, so they're not really thinking anyway. All of a sudden we start hearing wolves and all the girls start like making these crazy loud animal calls and they maniacally run through the woods towards the cabin.
I'd like to interject to the theme song.
Oh, that's right. They are playing No Return while this is all happening. And talk about perfect music choice. I mean, like, it has that tinge of like the horror and like just the timing of the song really does go perfectly with that moment. So thank you for pointing that out. That was impeccable.
Yeah.
And then we get back to the cabin. Jackie and Travis are having sex. And then we realize Travis is tripping balls. And he says, we disappeared though, right? Where are we? Are we even here? And like, so, you know, to my prior point, it was probably the mushrooms kicking in that led Travis to have sex with Jackie, but maybe not. Like, maybe he still had a little, you know, brink of sanity there. I don't know.
Yeah.
The girls make it to the cabin now, and Jackie and Travis quickly get dressed. They head downstairs and they start antagonizing Jackie. Lottie shows everyone the blood on Jackie's dress, you know, kind of proving they have sex. And Jackie yells at Travis to do something, but he's completely out of it and says, but none of us are here, though, are we? Like, Travis is gone. He is totally tripping balls. The girls focus their attention on Travis, and then everybody starts kissing him. And, you know, it's definitely an interesting scene. Lottie tells Jackie she took something that doesn't belong to her and then says, don't you understand? You don't matter anymore. And then locks her in the pantry. Like, Lottie, oh my God. And everyone's done with Jackie. She's also the only one who's not tripping right now. So she's probably like, you know, kind of killing their vibe. And then the girls, other than Tynessa, who are making out in the corner, all start molesting Travis and ripping off his clothes. And this was like this was kind of hard to watch. Like all of that whole entire cabin scene, like the looks on all the girls' faces, like pure evil. It's it's pretty crazy. And poor Travis, like, I
Yeah.
mean, in most cases, this would be like a guy's dream, right? Like, all these girls ripping your clothes off, like an orgy, blah, blah, blah. But in this case, it's pretty terrifying. Given the
Like their eyes go black.
circumstances. They all look like they're like monsters and devils, and they flash between like these scenes where they have like crazy teeth, and we see kind of it from Travis's perspective of them tripping. He starts freaking out and then imagines them pulling his skin off, and he jumps up and runs away. The girls watch him take off, but as they see him leaving, they see him as a deer, not as a person. And they run after him to catch the stag, as Lottie says. They have to go catch the stag. Again, we see Lottie really emerging as a leader in this situation. And then the girls take off running, and Javi is hiding at this point, and he calls out to Shauna, and Shauna just looks at him and says, "Run," in this like super crazy demonic voice.
Yeah.
Which is ironic because on one hand, Shauna is chasing Travis, on the other hand, she's, telling Javi to run. So she still must have a sense of herself and that protective nature of Javi, to have the sense to tell him to run away. And she then continues to chase Travis. Tynessa are getting it on by the stream. They are deep into some sexual activity. Van is wearing her mask at this point, and Ty says she needs to see her face and for her to take her mask off. And she does, and Ty says, "You're so fucking beautiful." And this is the first time we see, the scars on Van's face, which are, they're healing up really great. I mean, all things considered, like nice even scar, kind of looks like an S, and then there's another line. And
nice job, Aquila. Jeez.
I know, super job. Aquila most likely to become a surgeon, plastic surgeon. And we know that they're casting Van for the present timeline, so it'll be interesting to see how the scarring has held up over the last 25 years. Whether that scar will figure prominently into her look or not. And then Ben and Nat are still off on their own, and Nat is upset about Travis. And Nat has a good point. She's sitting there starving to death in the wilderness, and she's sitting there crying about a boy. Crying, "That's so fucking stupid," as she says. And Ben says, "It's not stupid. It's true love. It's love. Holy shit, it's everything, Natalie. It's everything. It's the whole reason we're here. You have to go. You have to go find Travis. Find Travis and tell him how you feel. It can save us all. Go." Like he has this epiphany about like love, and one of those moments that you have maybe when you're kind of hallucinating. So so that was really
Travis
interesting.
And Natalie's love will save them from starvation.
Yes. And it's like the complete opposite, right? We have Jackie, who's not on mushrooms, saying like nothing matters. And then we have, Coach Ben having this epiphany on mushrooms, like love is the only thing that's going to save us. So we see, two very different views on love there. Nat takes off, and then Misty approaches Ben. She had been listening to them in the woods. We kind of saw that with the camera work. We could sense that she was creeping in and listening to them. And then she jumps on him and tries to kiss him, and he pushes her off and tells her he loves Paul. So this is like quite a moment for Misty. Do you want to run through some of that dialogue at all?
So it's like, "Misty, just stop. I don't love you. I love Paul." And she's like, "Who's Paul?" And he's like, "He's my boyfriend, Misty. I'm gay." "Yeah, that's right. You heard me. Gay. I'm gay, gay, gay. Did you hear that, Mom? Dad? God?" He's like screaming at this point. All my furry forest friends, I'm gay."
I loved the furry forest friends line. He just came out to like everybody that would listen, right? And good for him. I feel like he was a little inspired by Van and Ty, earlier in the episode, and good for him. And really, like for Misty, oh my God, she's like, "What the fuck? Like, how did I not know this?" And then we're interrupted because we hear Nat hearing Jackie screaming for help inside the cabin. Nat runs there, lets Jackie out. The girls, in the meantime, are still chasing Travis / the stag, and they catch him. Then we see they have him tied up. Mari shoves a pine cone in his mouth. Lottie hands Shauna the knife and says, you know what to do. It's okay. It wants us to. And like,
So
I
creepy.
cannot get over just like the creep factor of Lottie in this entire episode. I mean, she is totally emerging as this like dark, evil character / leader. And, everybody seems to be listening to her, no questions asked.
Yeah.
And, luckily, Jackie and Nat come upon them just in time. Shauna is like literally about to slit his throat, but like she kind of starts coming to, and then
Yeah,
they
she
start.
sees like flashes of his face, which I didn't catch on the first one. I knew that she was seeing his body. She wasn't seeing his body as the deer anymore. She was seeing Travis with like the head of the deer. But
Yep.
I didn't notice on the first couple of watches through that like she was actually seeing glimpses of his face.
Yes, and it's like the second time that we've seen her kind of like go back and forth here. This time, of course, she's on mushrooms. The first time, is when she was stabbing Adam, kind of having these like flashbacks or whatever. So, intense episode for Shauna. Natalie luckily grabs the knife before Lottie can get to it. And she asks Travis if he's okay. And like the concern in her voice when she says that, like she was almost equally as devastated or traumatized as he was. Just you could like feel how much she cares about Travis, when she asked if he's okay. He's bleeding from his neck, and says he's fine and just runs off. Like, and this is like, I can't even imagine the trauma of what Travis just went through. Like, crazy, and he says he's fine, like runs away. Nat pushes Lottie to the ground and she starts laughing. Lottie says, "It's in all of us, even him, even you." And then the camera cuts to Misty hiding behind the trees, and she's apparently just witnessed this whole situation.
Yeah. She's so creepy. I mean, she's just Lottie's just laughing maniacally. I mean, she's clearly full on possessed at this point by whatever's in the woods. But yeah, it's in all of us. Like that's really, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that was the whole sequence was pretty crazy. Like, I mean, for me, that moment where Travis has the pine cone in his mouth is like, oh my god, like,
and that that must have been really scary for Shauna too, because she started like coming out of it, and after she dropped the knife, she was like, she had this look on her face like, what the fuck is going on? And I mean, she's like, she just realized that she almost hurt Travis really well. She did hurt Travis, but she almost killed him. But we get back to the present, and Natalie and Ty are showing up at Adam's apartment where Shauna is waiting for them. And she shows them the bag that they had put the money in. She shows them the bag with the burner phone in it and tells them that she found it in his closet. She says that he came back from getting coffee, saw her with the bag, and attacked her. Ty asks Shauna, how would he know anything about that? Like, how would he know about the symbol? How would he have any information on them? And she pulls out her journals and says she found them with him, and he must have broken into her safe while he was in the closet. And
she's not a good liar. She's not a good liar. Like, it's not coming off like authentic, but they seem to be believing her.
Yeah, so far, and Natalie, of course, is still just one track mind. She's like, you really think this is the guy that killed Travis? And, they don't really have an answer for that, but that's all that's on her mind still. And they're trying to figure out what to do with Adam's body. Shauna's like, we can't exactly weekend at Bernie's him out the door.
Oh my God. I loved that line. I thought that was great.
And Ty said, getting rid of the body isn't our only problem, Shauna. Your fucking DNA is all over this place. Your texts are in his cloud. The police are not going to have to dig deep to find you. And she's like, you're a lawyer. What do we do? And she's like, I practice land use, not murder cleanup.
And then all of a sudden, like, a light bulb goes off with Nat, right?
And Taya's like, you're kind of quiet over there. Do you have any ideas? She's like, yeah, I have one. And we catch
We
back
all
up.
know what that idea is.
Yes. And we catch back up at Misty's place. And Misty is wearing makeup, and she's got this nice pretty red lipstick on, and she and Jessica's like, you look amazing, but I guess they're talking about her image, because Misty's telling her that she's wanting to kind of reconsider the whole book thing. And Jessica's like, you look amazing, but there's going to be a lot of cameras on you. It's not too soon to start crafting your image. Do you think you have a lipstick color that's a little more innocent librarian? And
good observation. Good observation.
Yes. And Misty says, gosh, that's really smart. I'm so glad I kidnapped you before the reunion.
Timing is everything, MFQ. Timing is everything.
Yes. And then the doorbell rings, and Misty goes up, and it's Natalie. And Natalie actually tells her she looks pretty, which she does. It's so funny that Christina Ricci, because Christina Ricci is so gorgeous, and it's so funny that she's like, she's playing this character that isn't necessarily considered conventionally attractive, which is just like, you kind of have to suspend your disbelief, because she's so gorgeous.
She is. I mean, everything, her bone structure, like,
Yeah.
I mean, she's just a beautiful person. And, it's the second time in this episode that Misty was told that she looks beautiful. And, I feel like Misty, of all the characters, like, needs that, like, she does not get a lot of moments of people ever appreciating her. So to be appreciated twice in the episode, first from Jackie when they're doing her makeup, and then a compliment from Nat, of all people. Granted, Nat is trying to suck up because she needs her help, obviously. But I mean, we have to give credit where it's due. Christina Ricci is absolutely gorgeous, and they undersell Misty on her natural beauty.
Yeah, and she Natalie actually apologizes to her for quote unquote how she's been treating her lately, and I don't know that she really has anything to apologize for, but she's sucking up to Misty at this point.
Yep.
And Misty's like, are you making fun of me? You never apologize. And and Nat tells her that she needs her help with something. And Misty's like, need my help with what? Hacking somebody? Like, you need a ride home, and
getting warmer.
Yeah. And she's like, Misty is so not interested right now. And Natalie's like, well, you're just really good at things, and we need you to help us get rid of a body. And her face, she starts beaming. I mean, this is like the greatest moment of her life.
Literally the greatest moment of her life. Like, her smile, she's like, oh my God, they need me. Jessica Roberts was wrong. We're friends. Like, I'm such a great citizen detective. Speaking of citizen detectives, we do have some really cool citizen detective merch available at antlerqueenspodcast.com. Check it out.
Yep. And and it's like Misty gets to be in her own little citizen detective mystery now. She gets to be on the perpetrator side. Like, she gets to help them hide a body.
She's been training for this like her entire life. Like, everything for Misty is leading up to the disposal of Adam's body. And I mean, amazing that she'd be so happy about going to clean up a murder with her friends. But you know what? Her friends want her help. So, and I use the word friends loosely, but you know what I mean.
Yes. And she also is kind of, lighting up at the prospect of Shauna and Taissa being there too. It's like, this is the greatest moment of her life.
Absolutely. And we did not touch upon, Kelly, your MVP for the episode. Why don't you tell us who your MVP was?
Yeah, you know what, my MVP for the episode was Mari, because shit was getting a little crazy with Lottie, with the whole, there's some kind of possession thing going on with her, but Mari made the moonshine that she kind of surprised everybody with, but she also is the one who found Misty's mushrooms and put them in the stew. So Mari's really like, Mari was the MVP of Doomcoming for sure. She's the reason that things got so batshit crazy. Of course, there's also the full moon, so that contributed to it too. But
Oh,
Mari,
100%. Yes.
Mari gets my MVP.
Oh, love that. And our most likely to feature this week goes to Lottie Matthews, who is most likely to get kicked off the homecoming committee. And yeah, I think that's pretty spot on.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's I was involved when I was in high school. I was kind of involved with a couple of the homecoming committees, and you know, we would sometimes get into arguments about like, you know, we would discuss the theme, and we'd sometimes get into arguments about the decorations and stuff. I'm just imagining back then the reaction if I had suggested, "Hey, why don't we all chase one of our male classmates through the woods and tie him up and try to have an orgy with him and then try to kill him?"
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I mean, she's like the real ringleader of this whole Doomcoming situation. Like things are escalating pretty fast, and you know, Lottie is like driving that escalation. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I also want to mention my favorite song in this episode. We didn't really mention it because like there wasn't much of a reason to, but Geppetto. I love that song. I was a big Belly fan back in the day, and it's just I still love Belly.
Same,
I mean,
and good song. Totally agree. But for me, it was "The World I Know" by Collective Soul.
Yeah, it was that was a good moment. I mean, all of the songs were really well used. You know, the theme song.
I mean, "No Return" might actually be the most well-placed song, you know, of the episode. Yeah, that was really, really good too.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that a lot. But yeah, that's it for this episode, and which is so sad because it's like I hate when seasons come to a close, man. It's depressing. It's like you're a kid and summer's ending, and you know, or the school year's ending, and you're not going to see your friends for a while. But it's next week. Not next week. We're taking a break next week.
Yes, week
and
off.
Then we're coming back the week after that, and we'll be talking about the finale, the description of which is on the night of their 25-year reunion. The Yellowjackets navigate damning evidence, false alibis, and a dubious attempt to heal. In the wilderness, the Doomcoming fallout finds everything firmly off the rails as resentment comes to a head. So that's the last episode, and then when we come back for that episode again in 2 weeks, you know, we'll talk more about what we've got planned moving forward. But as for this episode, did you have any Melanie? Did you have any spoilers or information you wanted to talk about in regards to this episode?
You know, not as much on my end. I think because we're so close to the end of the season, we're starting to see a lot of these ongoing plot lines wrap up. But you know, one thing, I guess it's not really a spoiler, but like a mystery. Where is Javi at this point, right? You know, we see him when Shauna tells him to run, and we don't see him again. So where is Javi? More of a mystery, not as much of a spoiler. But we're getting so close to the end now. I think, you know, do you have any spoilers for today?
I really don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because this was, you know, it was such a setup for the season finale. It, you know, there's not, I think it would be tough for them to like, they tend to hold back in a lot of, I mean, not hold back in the sense of action, but they don't want to like spill their guts too much in the penultimate episode usually, you know.
No.
They want to save a lot of that for the finale. So I really don't have, and plus we've covered so much already that yeah, I don't really have anything that I think you know, looking back makes this episode interesting from the future because there's only one more episode to go.
Right.
But yeah, this episode was so much fun. I you know, I'm still really curious about that crazy voice that came out of Shauna.
Oh yeah.
Javi to run. Where did that come from? Lottie made the comment that it's in all of us. And when they were having the seance, she told Shauna it's in you already or something like that. Like, are all of the girls going to become possessed? And was Shauna, like, you have to think that Shauna was experiencing a little bit of that to have that voice come out of her, you know?
Yes, you know, in your notes you use the word demonic, and I can't think of a better word to describe that. It truly was. And you know, where is this coming from? Is it purely a result of the shrooms, or you know, does it have something to do like with the mysterious symbol? I mean, we still haven't uncovered what the symbol means.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of questions leading into the last episode, and you know, I remember the first time I watched Doomcoming, I wavered between going right into the next episode or waiting because I knew that it's the last episode of the season. So I think I had ended up like waiting a few days because I just didn't want the season to end. Because, you know, once you watch the last episode of a season, there's nothing else, right?
Yeah.
I ended up starting the Wilds after Yellowjackets to kind of like keep the buzz going, if you will. But yeah, I'm sad that we're nearing the completion of season 1, and we do have some really fun stuff planned,
Mm-hmm.
and we're excited to kind of start unveiling that a little bit, but we'll get more into that in the next episode and let you guys know what we're going to do before season 2 starts. We've got some really fun fan stuff up our sleeves too, and we
Yeah.
cannot wait to share.
You know, I just want to go back to one thing in this episode that we had talked about, I think, last week, with Ben and Natalie and Misty. There was actually a line in this episode, and I can't remember who said it, but somebody said, mentioned that Ben and Natalie, or no, someone said, Coach and Nat are friends. Misty's not going to like that. And I mean, she knows he's gay now, but that doesn't necessarily mean that she's still not going to feel rejected. And I mean, she was hurting him. She tripped him. She was poisoning him. You know, I mean,
does she murder him is I think where you're going with this. Is that
yes.
why like Nat and Misty have this super strained relationship in the present timeline? Like maybe she kills him, right? Because she's like, fuck that. If, you know, if no girl can have him, then, you know, nobody can, and kills him. I don't know.
Yeah. And Natalie and Ben are clearly getting close.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, even though Misty knows that it's not like going to be in a romantic way because he doesn't like girls.
Right.
Still...
It's that like possessiveness of her.
Mm-hmm.
Like she just feels like she owns him for some reason. It's kind of bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm hoping that's not the case. I would love to see that Ben actually made it out.
Oh my God. I know.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it would be great to see. I want everybody to make it out, but I don't know. I think we're probably going to lose a couple more people, I'm sure.
I agree. And, you know, maybe people will emerge too. We were kind of chatting before we started recording this episode. And, you know, in a lot of the episodes, we see the background Yellowjackets, Yellowjackets 1, Yellowjackets 2, as they credit them in the credits. This one in particular, I kept seeing this like blonde girl in the background who I just either never noticed before, or maybe they're, you know, showing her a little more prominently in the background. I don't know. But one of the things for season 2 I'm excited about is to see, you know, do they dive deeper into some of these like background Yellowjackets characters? You know, we know that we lose a character in the next episode. You know, so maybe one of these background actors steps up. I don't know, but it's just so much potential for season 2 to unlock mysteries, clarify some things, you know, introduce more into the present timeline. I cannot wait for season 2, Kelly.
Me either. I mean, for all we know, like my feelings about the Antler Queen and Pit Girl and everything, my prediction has been all along that Pit Girl is actually Lottie and that it's like a vision she's having. And, you know, we know that Lottie is the Antler Queen. But I mean, we're saying that really because, you know, she had that antler crown with the thing over that we saw in the beginning. But for all we know, one of these like Yellowjacket number 1 or Yellowjacket number 2 could end up taking that over and become Antler Queen,
Yes. There was another scene, I think a couple episodes ago when they were in the cabin and they were showing Lottie and they had her like centered around the antlers on the wall. And, for me, that was just another like clue. She's got to be the Antler Queen. She's got to be the Antler Queen.
Definitely.
But again, like they lead us to believe things and then, we find out they're not true. So there is a lot of room for her maybe not to be the Antler Queen. Maybe one of these background characters does emerge. So many questions. Many questions.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of exciting to me. We may actually get some names to these other Yellowjackets and might see some more of them.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
I mean, I'm guessing we probably won't because they're going to need to kill people off and they're probably just there to be killed off later, but who knows?
Right. Who knows? But then at the same time, like, the impact of killing off one of the extras just isn't the same as killing off one of the leads. So like, would it even matter? I don't know.
Probably not.
Oh my God, I can't wait. And, we still haven't heard who Van is going to be. I can't wait for the news to drop. I feel like it's going to be coming soon, right? I mean, or are they going to keep this like under total lock and key until season 2 premieres? I don't know how they can keep it under wraps. I mean, once they start filming, I feel like news is going to get out, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's I'm going to have to like look up filming information, see if I can find any information on filming for like when they were doing season 1. If there are any comments on Reddit or anything about like them, about Melanie Linsky and Christina Ricci and Juliette Lewis filming this new show or like see if people saw anything. I mean, there wasn't really a lot of outside stuff going on. So I don't know that people would have really like there would really be many comments about it or anything, but it's always fun to like read comments from people who've witnessed filming going on and,
Absolutely. And, the way they filmed the first season, they had started like during pandemic. So everything was kind of like spaced out between the pilot filming and the first episode. And it took a long time with the pandemic. So that definitely kind of like messed up their timeline a little bit. But I can't wait to see if they're sharing behind the scenes stuff for season 2 or if they're going to keep it under lock and key. It'll be really interesting because, filming starts soon. So
I'm going to be poring over everybody's Instagram profiles and see if they're like all now following somebody.
Good point. We need to check out who they're following. That's a really, really good point. Oh my God.
Yeah. If I find out that they're all following Julia
Stiles
very suddenly, I'm gonna lose it.
Yeah. Or Lauren Ambrose. Like Lauren Ambrose from 6 Feet Under, I think would be, another absolutely incredible choice. I mean, there are so many good options for Van. I am just literally dying to find out who it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm still kind of hoping, like my fingers are still crossed that Akilah makes it out and we get Adina Porter.
Yes. Oh my God, Adina Porter would literally be the best person to play adult Akilah.
And she's so good. I love Adina Porter. But she totally looks like her too.
Yeah. And Mari, like I'd love to see adult Mari too. And I feel like there's so many different options for actors that could play Mari, like endless choices.
Yeah. She's very, the actress that plays Mari she's very beautiful, but she's also very like, she's very kind of conventional looking. So it's hard to like, there's so many people that could play her, but I can't think of anybody.
Right. I could almost see like a Vanessa Lachey or
I could see that.
I don't know, like maybe an Alyssa Milano, but not quite. Like not quite. I don't know. But Van is the most excited casting choice that I cannot wait to see.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Well, hey, that was fun. I really felt like we captured the true essence of Doomcoming, not only because of our incredible costumes that we're wearing, but also because, we were teenagers in 1996 and, this was nothing like any high school event I've ever attended, but
Yeah. No.
you know, it brings back memories of like school dances and stuff, and just like those basic things about being a teenager. And I just loved it. And you know, again, we have some really cute Doomcoming gear at antlerqueenspodcast.com. I've been wearing my fanny pack everywhere. I wore my Doomcoming tank top to work the other day. And, you know, support our podcast. We would absolutely love if you would make a merch perch at antlerqueenspodcast.com.
Yeah. And you know what? I think I'm gonna go walk the dogs like this.
Oh, that's a great idea. You know what? I should go pick up my kids from school in this outfit. Like, the embarrassment factor would be an all-time high. Like, Mom,
that's so
what
cool.
are you doing? Oh my God. I'll be like, well, you know, Doomcoming,
They'd
guys.
run
Come
away.
on.
They'd run
Yeah.
away from home.
They'd be like we walk home from school, they would be walking like either ahead or behind me, like pretending that I don't exist. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, again, we're going to be off next week. We're taking a week off for Memorial Day week. We will be back the first week of June on that first Thursday at our normal time live, 12:30 p.m. Pacific, 2:30 p.m. Central, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. And, you know, drop a comment. Tell us what you thought about Doomcoming. Was this your favorite episode? You know, what are you looking forward to for season 2? You know, head over to our social media, follow us at the Antler Queens, and chime in. We really want to hear from fans and are very excited to do some more fan-centric things after we wrap up with season 1.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, I think we've covered it pretty well. And anything else, Kelly?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, hey, Kelly.
What's up, Melanie?
Buzz off.
Buzz off.
All right. And with that, Antler Queens out.